business plan. Do you really need one? So you're thinking of starting a business. Where do you start? A business plan is what most people would say. And for years and years, every business student all over the world has been taught that to put a business plan together. I guess the question really is, do you need a formal business plan? I'll preface my answer really quickly by saying I've spent most of my career planning things, looking at all the things in business. What you'll find over time is most of business is a planning function. So with all my experience with more than 250 clients, with more than 1,000 projects under my belt, how important is planning? Pretty important. I'm going to say this, you do not need a business plan to start a business. So hear me out. I've spent most of my career planning, looking at data, changing what we're doing, and moving forward. Plan, change, do. And when you do business in today's day, you have lots of data. So it's great, it's easy, it's wonderful. But in the end, do you really need to spend the time to make a formal business plan? I would say no. Don't leave the video quite yet. Hear me out. I got some interesting points of view. So first, this is not going to be the ultimate guide to how to write a business plan. If you're to do a quick Google search, you're going to find that there's over 7 million business plan results. So it isn't that there isn't enough resources on how to write a business plan. It's more about the why. Why should I even consider a business plan, or why not? So I mentioned in a previous video in this series, 3 things you need to know to start a business, that there were 3 things: an achievable idea, drive, and goals. And I'm going to focus in on the one thing that matters when you start a business. The most important thing, bar none, drive. You need to drive. And that means personal drive, that you get up every morning, and you go to work, and you work hard, and you try again, and you fall down, and you work hard, and you keep going, and you try again, and you get knocked over, you get tackled, you hit a wall, but you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. So I love the idea of the journey. And that's really what drive is going to help you on. That you're going to set a goal on top of a mountain. Your business is going to head towards that mountain. And every day you got to get up and work hard to move forward, to get through that forest or over that river. And it's in those first few months or years of your business that you're just going to put the nose to the grindstone, and you're going to start to figure out how to make money. That making money will get easier over time. And it's usually because you learn some lessons along the way, that you could do something more efficient, that your competitor was doing something else, that if you spend a little more time on customer service, you wouldn't have so many problems in the back end. And it's hard in this day and age to just not say, go for it, let's start the business, and that start the business knowing we're going to fail a whole lot. And a side note, I'm doing these videos on what I call the Dirty 30, 30 days of making some dirty, cheap videos that have some things in them that I think are important, but I'm doing it as a tactic to figure out how to better edit, how to better make videos, and to watch my data analytics so that each time I do a video, I get slightly better. After 30 days, I'll probably be pretty efficient at some of these tactics. Therefore, I can put more effort and value into the production, into the outcome, and really start to script some really good videos. But right now, it's just about getting it done and having some daily drive. Now, the end game is, did you fail at the business over time, or did you win at the business? But day to day, you're going to have failures. And therefore, I'm a strong believer it's much better to get going on this journey than it is to stop and write a nice piece of paper that has a lot of information in it. And then you simply take that newly minted business plan and you put it in the bottom drawer of one of your desks, and you never look at it again. Because inevitably, that's what happens with a business plan. That said, let's talk about a few things you probably should know before you go ahead and start on this journey, because there are some really basic things that are almost the 80-20 rules of business that you should consider before you just go wasting all your time and money on an effort that may be fruitless to start with. So the first and the most important thing of all businesses is show me the money, right? It's always about the return on your capital. So you have to initially say, I need to go out and I need to make sales. Here's something my dad always used to say.
Remember, nothing happens until the cash register rings.
So sales are going to be the most important thing the whole time you're in business, to be honest. But what are the things you're going to do to actually make sales and make that cash register ring? It's by far the most important. No business plan really matters unless you can make some sales. So you'll need to do some pre-planning on who your customers might be. What is your previous experience in that industry? Why are you doing this? And look at how are you actually going to sell something. That is by far the most important thing to start a business, and it's going to be the part that sustains your business. Now, the second thing is really expenses. So you have revenues and expenses. You take away those expenses, you have profits. So, what are your expenses to start out? You could go through the whole planning process, but it's probably better just to sketch this out on a pad of paper. What expenses are you going to have? What will be ongoing expenses and what would be considered fixed expenses? What might be variable expenses? What do you have to buy to make something? And what is the this for that within your expense structure? It's much more important for you to go through these numbers to start than it is to write the full business plan. So go ahead and sketch that up. You're going to need to look at your revenues and your expenses. And if you see some profit there now, well, maybe you're ready to start a business. I would say anytime you're looking at starting a business, you're going to be wrong about so much data. You have to go on the high side. So you're going to kind of underball your sales. You're going to over expense your expenses. You're going to figure out if there's any profit. I would say don't start a business unless you're looking to make 33%, 50% profit off of your efforts. Why is that? Well, when you look at some rules of thumb, and we used to use the rule of thumb as 30, 30, 30, or 33, 33, 33. 33% went into labor, 33% went into the overhead of the company, and 33% went to the owners. Inevitably, that third 33% was cut apart, and you ended up with 5% going to the owners, maybe 10% if you're really good. Profit margins are really kind of small in most cases, so you might as well really try to hit a number that is much closer to 33 or 50%. Because at the end of the day, when everything is done, all these efforts you've put in, you have to have made profit to keep moving forward. And generally, 5-10% is pretty good.